Hey guys, this is Greg. Uh, I know it's been a while. Um got a lot going on, and it just hasn't been a good month. Um, Before I, fill everybody in, I need to, or I want to, uh, mention that I lost a very good friend on December the 8th of this year. Um, he was 52 years old. One of my closest friends, my fishing partner. Um, he just, it's just a bad loss. Um, Probably the smartest person that I've ever met in my life. One of the kindest persons. Very humble. On the 8th, he accidentally he was helping set up a turkey shoot, a contest kind, not a hunting trip. And it was that Saturday morning he was um, going to get to his Jeep, and his driveway is extremely steep. He was carrying his pistol, um, nothing out of the ordinary, just like we all do. Uh, I have a concealed weapons permit. He does too, or did too, but he was probably going to put it in the car, in the console or glove box. And, um, there's people who do that differently. If I'm carrying, I, I just walk out of the house with mine already concealed. But I don't, he wasn't concealing, I'm sure, for, that purpose to go to a turkey shoot contest. So, um, just a freak accident. Uh, he went out that morning and it was raining, and he slipped on his, the driveway is very steep. He had his car keys in his hand. He slipped and fell, and the pistol went off and shot him through the heart. And, it, it kind of ruined my Christmas. And I feel so much for his family. You know, I know it ruined theirs. Uh, Went to the graveside service for him, and I know there had to be at least 250 people there, and that's not including people I know that should have been there, that were probably having to work. Um, he and I worked together in maintenance, technicians. Um, he had just gotten his certification for being a master gunsmith, and there was nothing about a firearm that he didn't know. I mean, nothing. And he had a big assortment of firearms. Um, my my Ruger Deerfield that I hunt with, it's a 44 Magnum, shoots a 44 Magnum pistol cartridge. Uh, and it's peep sights. I don't even use a scope on it. I bought from him. Uh, So, in memory of Jeff Stepp, one of my very closest friends, and one of the one of those people that when they leave, it creates a void that's not filled. You can't replace Jeff. It's just impossible. It's losing Jeff was like losing the Library of Alexandria. I mean, he was so intelligent. It was crazy the things he could build and do, and so I've had to be kind of deal with that over this past month. Um, Plus the pulmonologist appointment, what it didn't go all that great. Um, I'm just outside the margin. Um, I had to do a pulmonary function test, and based on the numbers, um, it didn't go all that well. I'm just outside the margin of COPD, just outside the margin of emphysema. So if you smoke, please consider quitting, and don't go the route of vaping. There are problems with that too. Vaping, there's a chemical in those fluids. The dermatologist told me, because I wound up with, when I had a tattoo done a few years ago, I was vaping, wound up with some kind of staph infection, and it took forever. I had to take doxycycline like 3 times, and that stuff makes you sick, to get rid of it. And he told me it was because there's a fluid, in that fluid there's a chemical that they're using, and all the bacteria, um, I guess some of the bacteria in your body, it stays in your nose and then in your sinuses and things like that. And once this chemical hits that, it creates a super bacteria. So if you get a bacterial infection, um, it's extremely hard to get rid of, and it comes from vaping. So try not to, please, I'm begging you, save yourself some grief. Uh, if you smoke, try to quit. I mean, good Lord, look at the prices of them anyway. I mean, look how much money you'd save. Okay, and the heart plaque test came back with very high numbers, um, a 303, and the cardiologist has set me up for a nuclear stress test on the 3rd of January. I had a home sleep study done, which I already knew I had. I already know I have sleep apnea, and I've had a machine, but the last machine burned up within like 3 years. So for 2 years I've gone without it. Insurance won't pay for another machine for after 5 years, and you don't want to know what those things cost. So I'm outside the 5 years now, and just the home sleep study was good enough. They got enough information so I don't have to go do the lab sleep study. And they're supposed to call me about my getting my machine. Haven't heard from them yet, but the cardiologist, I found out I have um, coronary arterial disease, heart disease. arteries are hardening, and um, that's kind of scared me, a little bit. Um, I don't know. It's not depression, but it's like normally I would be afraid and trying to do everything I could to keep from anything happening, which I'm gonna do anyway. But it's weird because all of my life I've always been afraid of dying, and now it's like I could care less. The thing is, the world is just gone so crazy. Things don't make sense anymore. My children are grown. I've got one that's not having anything to do with me over something very silly. But, she's slightly autistic, and she's got uh, she's special. She was a special needs child, and even though she's 22, she's having her 14-year-old tantrum right now. So she's living with her mother, and that's not, I'm sure, not helpful towards a resolution. Um, anyway, let's see. Coming up in January, um, there's going to be a rare super blood moon. I'm not sure the day, somewhere probably around the 18th or 19th. I'll have to look it up, or you can look it up. And if you've ever watched the video that I shot last January when there was a solar or a lunar eclipse, the video that I put out last year, which happened on January the 30th, I think, it didn't make sense. The shadow, or the red part of the moon, was 180 degrees out of where it should have been. And you had a lunar eclipse happening at the same time the sun was up above the horizon. So it was, they have some kind of crazy name for that. NASA explains it, but there's no explanation for that other than they're full of shit. Matter of fact, I'll put this up. I'll put that video up, and as a reboot, just for a lot of the new subscribers. And now that I'm through all the testing, and it took a while to get over the bronchial infection, but now that I'm through all these tests and I know what's going on with me, I'll be getting back to making videos on a regular basis. So I hope everybody had great holidays, and if you didn't, if you don't celebrate the holidays, it's still good to be thankful, and try to to be. For me, it seems like the holidays are the only time I get to see my entire family, and it's good to see family, even though half of them think I'm out of my mind. But I love all of my family, and love getting to see them. I've noticed that, as things progress and are getting worse, and all this crazy stuff's happening, the conspiracy stuff that we always do. That there are people that are either just either too healthy minded that they can't understand what's happening or can't even understand what you're talking about. And then there are people that are just absent. They don't have a clue. They basically they don't care. Let's put it that way. They can't get the face out of the phone long enough. Um, it's things are collapsing on us all around us. Uh, I watch a lot of the world disaster videos, and people they don't put this stuff on the news. People have no idea that there are so many people dead in Indonesia from the tsunami. They have no idea about the 7.8 magnitude earthquake in Ecuador. Um, all of the mud and landslides that are happening in China and the Philippines and all this stuff. I mean, you have to actually watch YouTube to know that this stuff's happening. And that old saying, I can't remember how it goes, but I'll kind of ad lib it. They came for such and such, and because I'm not such and such, I didn't say a word. And then they came for so and so, and because I wasn't so and so, I didn't say a word. And then they came for, and it gets all the way on down the line until it gets to you're the only one left. Well, we're not the people that are not trying to say so, but everybody else, there are people that do know what's going on, but they're too afraid to admit it because it makes them look crazy. So, look, I've repeated this several times, but I've grown up with this, um, what, like innate radar, that I've I know the difference between uh, perceived reality and what true reality is. You know, the perception of reality is completely different than what's really the truth of what's going on. Now, there are a lot of things I don't know. I can't explain. I don't know how it's happening. I just know that it is. I pay attention, I observe, and it doesn't make sense to me. It's just, I don't know. It's always been there for me. That's always been a part of me. I've built that way. It also, though, it does. I've always seemed to be very anxious, have anxiety issues, and I think it's based on that. Because I don't see the world the same way that other people see it, and the things that I do see, um, it's outside the margins of other people's perception. They can't tell the difference. It's like they're under a spell. I, I don't know. And we've talked about September 11th, 2001 being a gigantic, giant world spell, black magic type spell, especially with some of the stuff that happened on the night before and the day before. But it didn't seem to affect me, but at the same time, it didn't matter because I was this way already anyway. I've been this way most of my life. I got in trouble in school all the time because especially in government and economics. Miss Pettigrew, she hated me. I hated her. Uh, Simply because when she would say something, I would ask, why? Why are you saying this? Why is it this way? And you're not supposed to question the teacher, especially with why. You know, uh, what was it they said on Deadwood? One thing history proves: you sit, you listen, and you repeat back what you've heard, or choosing otherwise, you display your knuckles to be struck bloody on the desk. It's that's old timey talk because there's well now I was still young enough or old young I'm old enough that we still got a yardstick across the hand, you know, for punishment from teachers, but that was back when they could abuse us. So maybe that's what's wrong with there's no abuse going on. Or let's say just say discipline. I mean, face it, the kids run the schools now. Teachers' hands are tied. They can't do anything. It's politically correct world we live in, and I hate political correctness. Okay, guys, just wanted to update, let you know what's going on. Now that all the tests are done, um, I'll be getting back to making videos regularly. So, um, I had a slew of tests lined up um, since Thanksgiving, really, all the way through Christmas and even afterwards. I saw the doctor yesterday and had more blood drawn um, for more testing. So have an appointment on the 8th for my well care checkup, and they'll do metabolic panel, complete blood stuff, and all that. So after that, should know everything by then, and hopefully I'll have my sleep apnea machine. Been wearing this little Fitbit thing, and it told me night before last that I woke up 27 times in the night. So been having a lot of night sweats, night terrors, um, just a lot of stress, and I know that a lot of you have stress, to deal with during December. Um, when I became a parent, and then Christmas time for me is God is so uh, I hate Christmas time. I hate it. You know, I mean, number one, it's just a renamed version of Saturnalia. It's just, celebrating the winter solstice it's like naming horse shit virtue. You know what I mean? And then all the stress that comes along with, when I was a kid, and that's what I told my parents. I said, you don't understand what it's like being a parent that has to deal with Christmas for these kids. Of course, now mine are older, and uh, basically all the kids now, they just want money. But when you have to buy every year, you have to buy the very newest upgraded $400-$500 Xbox, and you got to buy two of them. Then you got to buy $1,000 worth of games to go with them, and this and that and this and that, and man, it's just too much. And you think back when you were a kid, It really makes your parents appreciate, or makes you appreciate what your parents did for you. But at the same time, they didn't have to deal with uh, what it's like to be a parent today. What you have to deal with buying today. You have to go get into your 401k to satisfy Christmas needs now. Go to the bank and take out a loan. It's ridiculous. Okay, guys. I see it's 25 minutes, and I've talked about hardly anything. So, uh, if you're still with me, I appreciate you watching, and I think I'm going to go ahead and upload that one video about the last year's eclipse. I'll just re-upload it. Okay. Because this is just off the cuff. It's probably a lot. It's too late now to tell you, but put it on 1.5 because I know there's a lot of ums and in here because it's just off the cuff. I just wanted to let everybody know what's happening, and I hope everybody enjoyed the holidays. 2019, can you believe it? 2019's coming. What happened to 2018? What happened to 2017? It's there's one thing that I told my dad, because the Bible says that lest the days be shortened, no flesh would be saved. Well, I told my dad, I said, does it not feel like time has just sped up to you? And a day now, you can't get anything done in a day. A day does not feel like 24 hours anymore. It feels like 12. I mean, next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock at night, and time to go right back to bed. I don't know. It's just maybe that's it's just like the verse that talks about to be a famine in the land, and not a famine for the not a thirst for the food or water, but a thirst for the word, which means to me is why I think that justifies why the Bible is being changed. I see that as a prophecy telling that, most people thought that they're just going to take everybody's Bibles away, and then, there just won't be any more Bibles, or make it illegal to own one. But they don't have to do that, because there are so many changes happening throughout the Bible now that maybe that's what it is. And if you're not familiar with it, or at least don't have the eyes to see it, some of this stuff, like there was milk in his breast, or a nursing father, when it used to say a nursing woman, now it says a nursing father. Well, we all know that men don't nurse babies. Now, if that doesn't grab your attention and tell you that something crazy's happening, then if you were to take that verse and show it to people, that even a pastor, and they just ignore it, then you got to realize that there's some kind of spell or something going on that people are just, we already know all this anyway. We've been dealing with this since, 2015? At least I have. I know it was late 2015 when I started looking at the Mandela effect, when it first started. Or at least that's when I found out about it. Now it's just like a freight train wide open. So, alright guys, just want to update everybody, and I'm going to re-upload that one video. So Okay, guys, enjoy your new year. Um, I may put something up before then, but uh, tomorrow's Saturday, and there's a lot of college football games on tomorrow, so I may be busy. All right, enjoy your New Year, New Year's Eve, what have you, and everybody, please be good to everyone else. Appreciate everybody. Try to do something kind for somebody. Um, there was something I saw that said, go out and do something to three people, talk to three people to try to make them believe in you. And then that was on a Monday, and then go on a Friday, go out and do something for three people and talk to them and try to make them believe in themselves. And after that's done, ask yourself, would you which type of person would you rather be? A person that makes someone believe in you, or a person that makes other people believe in themselves? I'd rather make people believe in themselves. So, it's just uh, I know to some people that's just words, but to some people the sentiment's real. So the sincerity's there. Try to make people believe in themselves. All right, guys. Have a good one. Be good to everyone else, and take care.